I've been an online reseller for the past, let me check my watch here, about 15 years. Over that time, I have sold many tens of thousands of items, and some of those items have been really common items with shocking values. For example, these Miracle Made sheets, 130 bucks that I sold at the end of last year. And to me, that's crazy. Over the past 15 years, I've sold so many bed sheet sets, $80, $100, $130, $150, even up to $200 bed sheet sets, which is crazy to me. Maybe it's not to you, but I can't imagine $130 for some cloth that I happen to lay my body upon for a few hours a day. And I've also sold over the past 15 years some really odd, strange things. I don't know what they are. I have no idea what they do. I've talked about that multiple times on the channel. Things that I just don't know anything about. I don't need to know what it is. For example, something like this, Morbid Mouse Jubilee. This thing sold out. Had no idea what it was. I picked it up because it looked really like a really nice metal, and it was 150 bucks on their website. It was sold out. I ended up finding out, doing through some research, only 100 of these were ever made. And I found Giant Mouse is a knife company, and I actually sold it for 250 bucks. As you can see here, is one of my last sales of 2025. So in this video, I'm going to be highlighting about 15 to 20 items just like this. Some common items with bombastic value, and also some really weird, strange things that I have no idea what they are. Okay, Makeshift, this plush company, I've talked about this a few times over the past year. I find a lot of Makeshift. Makeshift is a company that I really don't know where they are, what they do, what they come from. It's some kind of plush anime company that is like custom. It reminds me of like Kickstarter type things where it's fan made plushes or fan voted on plushes, something like that. But they make limited edition from anime, video games. I'm not exactly sure, but Makeshift. The reason I'm highlighting it because I do find them so often, but also because they have some incredible value. As you can see here, over the past year, I don't know if I can, they go from 66 on the low end, $50 ones. I had some $200 ones, over $200, $150, $190. You can see here. And the reason I also wanted to bring it up is because these are the kind of things you might be able to find in thrift stores when they just put them in the plush bins, when $1 or $2. And they're really high quality. You can get more if you get the original bag with them, the little makeshift bag, that plushy bag that they come in, but they're really easy to miss. Then we got these parrot motif push plates. You know, parrot is the parrot motif is specific to the design of this thing, but the push plate, this is something I would have never guessed has actual value, at least not as much as they do. Some I saw online, some are very cheap, you know, the ones that you can go out and get like at Home Depot, for example, just replacement ones. But the ones with artistic design, some of these things can be in the hundreds of dollars. I sold, I don't know, 4 or 5 of these things for 50 bucks a pop. I don't see them a lot though, so it's definitely one of those rare things that I may never see again out in the wild. Then we got some aprons, specifically Hedley and Bennett. And I'm sure there's actually some other aprons out there in the wilds that you guys might know about that have some real value, some sort of like collector or rare company type ones. But this Hedley and Bennett Star Wars apron, 105 bucks I sold this for last year. And this Hedley and Bennett, they make a lot of I should say like crossover Star Wars. There's one on One Piece that recently sold 140 bucks for this One Piece crossover. They have this MLB team, LA Dodgers. So they make a lot of different IPs. It seems like they cross IPs or do sports teams. And if you find the right one, they can have some pretty amazing value. And then I wanted to highlight this Sleep Number remote control. It's definitely one of those things that remote controls, I don't know if you guys have looked at remote controls out in the wilds. I know for a time, maybe a year ago, I remember watching some videos here on YouTube with some people that were focusing on selling used remote controls to all sorts of replacements, and they did really well. But this Sleep Number I sold for 80 bucks. Which is saying that people were paying $80 for the Sleep Number controller, probably the same people that bought the $130 sheets. They go all in. They take sleep very seriously.
I should get some sleep.
Hey, if you're spending, I guess, a third of your life in your bed, I guess that can make sense. Fancier the bed, the fancier the controller, the fancier the pockets that have to pay for it. We have this Deneen pottery, which I've actually talked about on the channel. I don't love selling coffee mugs. I know there are some people out there that really thrive on selling pottery and mugs and really have some really deep knowledge of this stuff. I do not. I just have learned a few things over the years. I'm also aware that some people just avoid them altogether, which can make sense. They have a tendency to sit a while, and they're kind of heavy to ship. So there's a few things in the way of people wanting to deal with coffee mugs. It is a very high quality. It'll stand out on a thrift store shelf. If you were to look up Deneen pottery on eBay, do an eBay search, you can see how many are listed, how many are in the sold category. So they are very desirable and something to keep an eye out for. Something specific that I've been selling a lot more in the past year are these circuit breakers, these for the breaker boxes. And you can find them for $2, $3, $4 out in the wilds. I don't know how often they make it out there. I don't know like what's going on at my local thrift, but I find them, I'd say once a month or so. And some of them are like, this is actually on the lower end, $45. I do have one. I think it's right next to me actually. Oh, here it is. And check this out. Look this one up. I had it up for $999, which is crazy. But on their website, a Schneider Electric Square D, that's the model number. If you go on their website, it's selling for over $1,000, which is insane. And this was $2 or $3 at a thrift store. And I would take an offer on this thing for half of what I have it listed for. Or if you want to look this up and just to say, no, you're an idiot, that's not true. All answers are accepted. Random machines, electronics, that kind of thing. I don't know what this is. You can see I didn't even label it other than what it literally says on the unit itself. That's the model number, the replacement power head. No idea what it's a replacement power head for. I didn't care. I just looked at the model number, I put it up, and it sold really quickly. $45 plus shipping. So look up this thing. Keep an eye out for this thing. We're moving on to this Fuente. Sorry, my phone's always dying. This Fuente Opus X Forbidden Prometheus cigar cutters. This is the second one I found. The first one is in a lot better condition, and I got $100 for this. This one was all scuffed up, all scraped, but the blade was nice, crispy, clean. That's what people really care about, and the brand itself seems to be fantastic. It's easy to miss, and this was just in the bottom of a little miscellaneous bucket, and I think it was like labeled as 99 cents. People miss this stuff. They just assume that it's small. I don't even know if they knew what this was, because I don't know if they saw the blade, because oftentimes the blades won't make it onto the thrift store shelves unless it's in the form of like a kitchen knife. Then we got a Cardsmith's currency lot, which this is crazy to me. Collectible cards. You know, it's I'm a big Magic the Gathering player.
Did you just call me a nerd?
You know, I'm aware of that. And Pokemon, I sell some Yu-Gi-Oh as well. And then there's a few miscellaneous games here and there that I keep an eye out for. But this Cardsmith's currency lot, these were just a little stack of cards that I found out in the wilds, and I almost just passed them over as I made the, I did the cardinal sin, one of the reselling cardinal sins, thou shall not assume prices. And that's what I found myself doing. These are just weird Bitcoin cards, but I looked them up, and some of them individual cards were worth hundreds of dollars, which was insane. And I put them up for auction. There is desire for these. There is some demand online. If you go on eBay and look up Cardsmith's currency lot, cards are one of those collectibles that, you're not gonna lose a bunch of money by doing an auction versus a buy it now, because people will pay a fair price based on they're the ones that are valuing the cards. So I started this auction. I think it was even at like 99 cents, sold for $91. I didn't know what this was. This genuine Ross Tech. I literally copy and paste what the item says whenever I'm looking stuff up, the model number, everything. Looking back, I think it is just some sort of diagnostic tool for certain vehicles. This one doesn't work for all models of all colors, but that said, all of these had different values, and mine was actually on the low end. I took a best offer of $80. I think I put it up for $100. Don't know what it is exactly. Don't care what it does. I'm looking out for these things because these are easy to miss. Things are just thrown into, flow and throw it into a random bucket in thrift stores and garage sales, and easy to overlook stuff as it just looks like some other random cable. Raspberry Pi 5s. You guys may know about this stuff. It's kind of new to me. They're tiny little computer parts. People like to build little computers. Again, I probably sound stupid for the people that know that these things are, but Raspberry Pi is a company that they sell little computer gadget parts so people can develop their own computers. And they're easy to overlook, easy to miss, because again, they're like wee big, these little boxes, and it sold for almost $100, which is insane to me. But people love this stuff. Raspberry Pi, also a strange name, I think. Raspberry Pi, I guess the Pi is not the PIE. It is the PI, the Raspberry Private Investigator 5.
You smart. You very smart.
And I want to highlight this thing because this is just bonkers and weird to me. I sold 3 of these in the past week, or maybe it was 2 weeks. This Purina Fancy Feast ornament, that they have ornaments that people pay this much money for. I think some people are like selling for 65, 75. I don't know if they're necessarily getting that much, but it's just crazy to me that people are spending $50 for these collectible. I'm sure there's so many odd, strange collectible Christmas ornaments out there, and these Purina Fancy Feast just was like, I couldn't believe it. Again, it's something I almost just passed over, broke that cardinal rule. Thou shall not assume prices. Obviously, I know what Whirlpool is, but I don't know what this necessarily went to. It was a control board for something. Again, I just went by model numbers, looked it up. Whenever I find these motherboards for anything, I'm starting to look them up. As some of them have, I mean, some have been real duds, but then you get like things like this. I don't know if this goes to like a fridge, a dishwasher. I have no idea what this goes to. Don't really care though. All I know is that model number for Whirlpool made me $90. So I'll continue looking out for motherboard pieces. And it reminds me when I learned on YouTube so long ago, I think it might have been Rally Roots channel that introduced me to looking at car stereo replacements, or CD replacements, because people will take out their stock ones, for example, when they upgrade their CD players or units. And some of them can have some real value. And I remember finding some of those out in the wilds back in the day. $60 for a tumbler is crazy. I've sold some really crazy priced tumblers in the past, especially with that Stanley craze a couple years ago. Some of the Stanleys were going for like $75, which was insane. People were like going to Target, I think, and just trying to clear the shelves at a certain time when certain Stanleys had some real value. And then anyway, this Glossier tumbler, holiday exclusive, just something that really caught me off guard. I took a best offer. I think I put it up for like 75 and took a best offer of $60. Crazy that people are spending so much money, and a year from now it'll be banged up and they'll probably want a new one. And we all know this kind of tech gadgets, GoPros, DJI Osmo Action Pros, that kind of thing has value. No shocker there, obviously, but I wanted to highlight it because for a time I didn't know that you could actually get some good money out of broken electronics. Not for all of them, of course. Don't want to lead people on to start like picking up all the scrap they find on the side of the side of the neighborhood and just trying to sell it online. But it is worth considering that especially popular things with video games, especially certain consoles, could still have money, because there are people out there that know how to fix those things. There are also people out there who are just looking for those parts to fix their own, or they're willing to just buy broken ones and they have extra parts and they're resellers themselves and they know how to fix these things and they resell them, so they look for good deals. And this DJI Osmo Action camera was broken. Yeah, all you got to do is really highlight what's wrong with it. If you can get it to turn on, I note that in the description that I can get the battery to charge, or I can't get the battery to charge, or camera turns on but the screen doesn't turn on. But whatever the problems may be, you test it out. Sold. I don't remember what I put it for, but I took a best offer of $62 for this thing, and it was broken. Sometimes it's worth buying even if it is broke, just if it has value for parts only or for repair only. Hope you guys got some value. I know I sure enjoy talking, sharing this information. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me here. And I have a Whatnot auction coming up next Wednesday. It's going to be February 4th, 7 p.m. I'll correct the date on the video, but I think it's February 4th, next Wednesday. A lot of good stuff, a lot of brand new stuff that actually could be good for resellers. This kind of stuff, I am currently overwhelmed with inventory, and I'm trying to get into Whatnot a little bit more, which is also why I'm doing this. I want to give some people some good deals on this stuff. I'm going to be starting auctions at $2 or $3 for a lot of stuff, a lot of Disney stuff, a lot of toys, a lot of household stuff. It's basically a lot of small stuff, and if I can figure out how to do like the $15 off for signing up, or if you've never purchased something on Whatnot, if I have a link, I'll provide that link in this video below. Probably also resell and make some good money on, especially some that have some Loungefly Star Wars wallets and such. And thanks for coming and hanging out with me here on YouTube, and we'll see you guys out in the wilds.